Hey everybody, back again. Going at the man thing. Trying to think of where I left off last time. I think that I had not blocked out these shoulders and the head was not as far along as it is right now. So take a little peek at what I did since last time. You can see I'm starting to bulk out those shoulders to start to get to the point where they are the actual size of my drawing. If you were to measure the exact width of my design drawing, 7.5 inches wide, and you're looking at about 7.5 inches wide here. So I am right at the proportions that I need to be as far as the width of this dude. There's gonna be mushrooms and stuff kind of sticking out here, a few veins or roots coming out from his form, but he's pretty much bulked out to that size that I'm going to want him. I think I'm going to work a little bit on bulking out his rib cage and his back spine area. So I'll start by doing that a little bit. You'll see kind of what I was doing before, where I start to bulk out this area using some smaller pieces of Sculpey. Using the smaller little like balls of Sculpey kind of gives you a little bit more control over each little part you put down. You can kind of look at it, see where it's thinnest, and slowly build up. Long, tedious process. I usually have some music going or a podcast going or something to kind of help me stay focused, but we'll do a little bit of this and then I'm going to jump onto the head so you can kind of see some of the stuff I've done on the head. But if you look at my design drawing and you see how bulked up those rib cage sections and the spinal section are, I still have a ways to go. I'm going to have to get this up considerably. I might even be building on to the tops of my shoulders a little bit because I kind of like that smooth transition. The only thing is I'm going to have to change the design in here because these arms are going to still have to pivot and they're going to have to come on and off. So I'm going to have to redesign how my roots connect. I will still have that big collarbone root connect right in this same area, but I'm going to have to leave this all open so this arm can pivot and swivel. So you can see I keep a nice hunk of my mixed gray Sculpey handy. Just keep going at this to start getting closer to that big bulky silhouette. I think I also, something else I should mention is you're going to see a little section here where I had been working on it the other day for a little bit, and I started to think, I did some measurements and stuff on my drawing, kind of took a look at the proportions the way they were appearing, and I thought that I had not allowed myself too much length in the waist. You can see, believe it or not, these legs are the exact length they need to be. They're the same length as they are in the drawing, but they, sorry, I'm getting some messages in here. They're the same length as they are in the drawing, but they don't look the same. They do a little bit more now because what I ended up having to do, and I do this, it happens every once in a while. You do the measuring as much as you can, but when you start seeing this thing in dimensional form, like when it starts to take shape, sometimes I notice that I need to alter things just to maintain the proportions that I got in my design drawing. So what I ended up doing is I took this out to my bandsaw and I cut the thing literally in half and had to build another two pieces of armature inside. I drilled a hole, 2 holes up here, 2 holes down there, slid wire into those so it would come together nice and sturdy. And then I filled that all with 2-part epoxy to give it about another inch or so of length in the waist. I think that's really going to help me maintain those proportions that I have in my original drawing. So, like I said, I don't freak out about stuff like that. Sometimes I mismeasure or maybe there's something that that happens once I start getting into 3D, but I don't freak out about it. I just fix it, and I know that I've learned enough over the years that I'm going to be able to get this armature right back to where it's nice and sturdy, and I don't have to worry about it, because you'll see as I'm working on this armature, you're not getting a whole lot of movement and bend and stuff, because this is a solid armature, and it's 100% necessary when you're doing a sculpt this large that you have an armature you can depend on, because it's going to be required to carry a lot of weight and to put up with a lot of pressure as I'm pressing this clay onto the form. So this has to be one of my most involved armatures that I've done in a long time. It's funny, I feel like as I get older, my armatures they're definitely getting better. I think it's the more you learn, the more you try, you know. I think I got lazy there for a while. I just wanted to get into the sculpting so bad that I didn't worry so much about my armatures being as well thought out and as sturdy. And I think this one's kind of one of the best I've done. You can see, just keep building up, keep building up. There's definitely like a lot more rounded bulk up here at the top. Once again, I'm doing a lot of work with my hands, not worried about the tools as of yet. That skull and that tree that's growing out of his back, I'm not even going to worry about that for a while. What I might do is once I start getting this blocked out, I may make my armature for my tree and put it into this clay and have it kind of sticking up. I'm trying to decide, because I might just end up building that tree totally, absolutely separate and making sure my root system and everything flows nicely right into it. But more likely it'll be a totally, absolutely separate piece that I do at a later date. You can see when you look at these arms, I've started to block out a lot of the musculature, trying to get a nice flow to those muscles as they curve in and wrap. I have not yet gone and started to gather up my reference. I got a little ahead of myself, started getting into my anatomy, but I almost always, when I'm doing anatomy, especially something like Man-Thing, where he's kind of, you know, originally he was a human being, so there's a lot of echoes of that human form that's going to be still within his Man-Thing monster form. So I will still be grabbing some reference off the internet, getting some, probably getting some bodybuilder images, because I want exaggerated muscle system that's going to be kind of melded with plant forms and roots and stuff. So that'll probably be in the next video. Right now I'm still blocking things out, so not worried about starting to get into that anatomy, almost going off of more of what I remember is true human anatomy, to just get these things started. So you can see I'm starting to get this guy up to that big mountain shape that form his upper torso, upper back. I've actually been formulating a plan on how I'm going to do this spine. I recently did a sculpture of this mammoth man, the mastodon man, that I was posting on Instagram, and it had an exposed spinal column that its skin would peel away on his back, and you could see his spine all the way down to about the middle of his back, and it was very time consuming to sculpt. So I have a plan on something that I think might speed up the process, which might include me making a specific tool, which I've told you that I do from time to time make my own tools to serve whatever purpose that I might need, and I think this is going to require me making a special tool, so that'll be coming up in the days to come. I'm kind of concentrating on the front a little bit because that's usually what I try to get right first. But I should be really spinning this guy and working it all the way around. I, of course, will leave this area totally unfinished because I'm going to be taking him on and off this armature support from time to time. And I'm still going to, once it comes off for the very last time, then I will patch it and do all the detail down in there. I recently did a big sculpture of a creature that cannot be named at this time, a famous film monster that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And he's, I took him off of this stand, put the armature back together with this sleeve system that I use, and it totally stands on its own. It stands like it's a toy. So it does not, once it's finished, it does not need this stand to support it anymore, which is really gratifying, showing me that my armature was really built correctly, well balanced, real strong. I'm going to continue. This is my new way of building these armatures with this kind of removable disassembly style sleeve system. So all right, I got my side views over here. As you can see, I still have a bit of bulking out to do there. I might even be a little high with my spine. You know, and sometimes if I get a little bit, if I don't quite, I'm totally perfect to my concept sketch, I like to use it as like a, you know, what I'm shooting for, or what I've kind of decided, made some choices with my design sketches, but I am not afraid to make different decisions while I'm sculpting based on what I'm seeing. So there are subtle changes sometimes to my designs as I work, which is okay, as long as it all looks good in the end. A licensed item like this, I might worry about that a little bit more, sticking to the design drawing if someone else had done it. And it was like a Mike Plug version of Man-Thing, or a Val Mayrick was another artist that worked on Man-Thing. If I was doing a specific version of theirs, I would have to really adhere to that design sketch. But since I designed this guy myself, I see that there's maybe a little leeway to go this way or that, change some things if I feel like it. See how that's getting nice and bulky. More bulk. And I kind of like that smoother transition there, so I'm probably going to build up a little bit on the top of the shoulders as well. I might come in here with my tool. I love this little wooden kind of wedge shaped. Make sure I'm maintaining that nice separation between body and arm. I will probably take these arms off here pretty soon, but I really want to keep them on because I want to see how that silhouette is working for me. I usually have music on when I'm doing this stuff, so if you hear me humming, and try to guess which movie soundtrack it is, because that's usually what I listen to. All right, just to kind of speed things up, I might show you what I was going to do up here. You can see there's that dip. I'm going to try to eliminate that dip a little bit and have it a little bit smoother transition into that big bulky shoulder area. There, I'm using a bigger hunk of clay because I'm getting impatient. It's kind of interesting shooting these videos. Makes me rethink my approach from day to day when I'm coming in to do the sculpt. I don't quite do things the way I normally do. I work a little bit differently, just because I'm trying to think of the most interesting thing for me to have in the video. Most interesting thing for you guys to see. And the good thing is when I work, a lot of times I do this when I draw too, is I don't, work from top to bottom or side to side. I am all over the place. I'll work on, like this guy, I'll work on this section. All of a sudden I go, hey, wait a minute, let's go over here and start on this upper arm. And I just have a tendency to jump all over the place, I guess in a way it's kind of to keep things interesting. Or it's more than likely it's to make sure that I'm maintaining consistent proportions from side to side and in other areas. Yeah, I always keep a bit of bubble wrap next to my sculpting stand, because as I pop these things, arms and heads and stuff off, I like to have a nice comfortable place for those things to lay. So you can see where I ended up here. This is where these discs give me a nice guide to where to put this detail and where to work it in. That's where this whole sleeve system is so awesome. Pop those arms off, but then as I work on them, which I probably will work on the arms totally separate, pop them back on, take them back off to get details, put them back on. I can just continually always see what the entire dude's gonna look like while I'm working. I love it.